Hi there, my name's Adam Fielding, and welcome to another one of my music making sessions. I swear that's getting harder and harder to say every time I say it. Someone just asked me if I was partaking of a tipple tonight. I can't even blame the fact that I'm drunk because I'm not. I'm just having a cup of tea. So yeah, I just can't talk. So anyway, glossing over the fact that I can't talk. I thought it'd be kind of fun tonight to do something jungly again, as it's been a while since I did anything with breakbeats, and I've had kind of a bit of an urge to chop up some breakbeats and get something going. So for anyone who's not aware, last week I tried to implement a system via Twitch where people could spend their channel points and suggest new devices to me to actually use while I'm working on a track. And that didn't work. It was a colossal failure. Nothing happened, and it sucked. So this week, I decided to try and re-implement that and get it going again. And Clobber Mutt, before the actual music making component of this stream started, has redeemed a whole bunch of channel points to get me to add a subtractor. So at some point very soon, I'll be adding a subtractor. I'm assuming it's going to be more of a percussive element because I'm going to be focusing on getting some breakbeats chopped up and going to start with. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so yeah, I owe you guys one subtractor. There we go. I owe you. So you may have noticed, if you're particularly observant, that this isn't a completely empty rack. I have some stuff going on here. So I've got my kind of typical output maximizer thing going on here, which is just giving the output a 3 dB bump. That's literally going from the master out to the hardware interface. And I've got a channel here called Breakbeat 1. So I've got a nice little breakbeat ready to go. So I mentioned this during my last jungle stream. If you weren't able to check it out when it was released, Luke Vibert released a really cool collection of breakbeats sort of several months ago, and they were withdrawn from sale several months ago. And I suspect because the copyright of the breakbeats was kind of it was dubious. So I've actually brought one of those into this track and kind of just chopped out the bit that I wanted to play around with. And I'm hoping to get some ideas going from that. So I've set the tempo to 160 BPM. I feel like that's kind of a nice place to start. So I'm just hoping to get some jungly vibes going and kind of mess around with it. So the first thing we're going to do is go to slicing up breakbeat school. So I'm going to set the grid to a quarter just by zooming out. I'm just going to chop this breakbeat into 4 distinct elements. Actually, I should probably play the breakbeat for you so you know what I'm actually doing. I don't have anything going on there. So I'm just going to press play and you can hear it for yourself. So that is my starting point for this entire track. So I haven't really done anything with that. There's no inserts or anything going on. I've just turned it down a bit so it's not overly loud. Copyright strike. I hope not. I managed to get away with not getting a copyright strike on my last jungle tune, which was Facing Giants. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I don't have any problems this time around. So the first thing I'm going to do with that is, well, I've chopped it into individual chunks. So I always tend to find it easier to work with breakbeats, especially in sort of a jungly setting like this, if I just chop them into large chunks and just kind of play them back to back. So I might zoom in a bit more. I'm just going to stick with 1/8 there and just kind of drag them over and see what pops out. In fact, before I get going, I might add an instance of the wonderful Beatformer plugin, which has kind of become a staple of mine, really. So I'm just going to turn the squash down a bit so it kind of helps to pop a bit more. So just going to lower that a bit and maybe turn the air up so it will sound a little more kind of poppy. So if I just press play. If I go back to the breakbeat, wherever I left it. That's a bit too much. I still want some of the air there. That'll do. It's kind of got a bit of a snap to it. So I'm thinking of just going to move some stuff around, see what pops out. Find it helps if I set the left loop point to the correct parts. There we go. So I'm thinking, let's repeat that, but this time let's just have that ring out there. So that's a good start, I think. So I'm just gonna hang on to those break chunks there, copy and paste that once. So I'm thinking of having like a nice 16 bar section that'll kind of give me a nice thing to play around with. So I feel like I could do something more with that. Yeah, that would be cool. There we go. Could probably get rid of that original break now. So it just kind of adds a bit of variety at the end of that. And I think at the end of those 16 bars, let's just have that break actually just play for a change. So let's play that. That's a nice little 16 bar thing going on there. I'm not entirely sold on that. Buskin Bills suggested get a reverse kick in the kit. So I'm thinking it might be fun to. I think that might work as like a little flourish once I'm actually working on the track, but yeah, that'll do. So that's a nice kind of simple, straightforward breakbeat kind of thing. So it's always fun to mess around with breakbeats, especially when you're working on something jungly, just by chopping them into quite large chunks and then just kind of zooming in and messing around with them after the fact. I've had like a few people ask me, well, why don't you use recycle for that? It's, you know, that's kind of what it's designed for. That's a very fair question. But I think in this particular instance, I just think it makes more sense to just chop it into large chunks. It's more kind of conducive to the sort of feel that I'm going for, which is just kind of triggering large samples that happen to be tempo locked to the track. So yeah, give it a go. If you've never tried kind of chopping stuff up with audio as opposed to using recycle, I can highly recommend it. It engages a different part of the brain, encourages kind of different kind of techniques, and kind of it sort of encourages more of a flow, I think. Whereas using slices and recycle kind of encourages more kind of fiddly editing, I think. So so yeah, there we go. So main QB has said layer it. So I fully intend to, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this subtractor. So Clobbermutt suggested before the stream itself started, well, didn't suggest, used a whole bunch of channel points to make me add an instance of subtractor. So I'm thinking I might use it to as kind of like a sort of hat almost. So I'm gonna totally cop out and get rid of oscillator 1 and just use the noise. So let's have the velocity affect the amplitude there. I think that's a bit too. So well, let's just try this. So I'm just going to draw in some very kind of simple. That's way too harsh at the moment. I'll just play around. That's also too slow. So if I double that and just copy and paste that a whole load of times. So that's interesting. It's not exactly where I was planning on going with this, but I'm just dialing in a little bit of reverb so we can have a little bit of... In fact, let's get an LFO on that filter just to kind of give it a little bit of movement. Let's turn the sync off actually. Excellent. Right, so that's a nice start there. So yes, lots of people are already twigging that I've just added an instance of DR1, and we're what, sort of 30 minutes into the stream, including the 15 minutes or so before I actually started doing anything, which is quite remarkable. I'm going to leave that as it is. I'm just going to call that sort of Hattie sub, because that's not misleading or anything. And I'm going to add another breakbeat. Maybe play around with that subtractor in a second. It's a bit of a cop-out, me using the subtractor as a percussive thing, but I kind of like it, so there we go. So I am going to go to the Blue Martin Jungle sample selection, which I downloaded a while ago. So if you missed my last jungle stream, this is a sample pack provided by Blue Martin, and it's full of all kinds of jungly goodies. So it's a total freebie. Go to their website and download it. It's excellent if you want to try writing something in a similar sort of style. So I'm just going to dip into the breaks folder and do something with it. So none of these have been kind of tempo synced or anything to Reason, so this will be kind of interesting. I seem to recall I started at the top last time. I'd like to avoid using an aim and break if I can, because I did that last time, and it's an easy choice, and it's excellent. Clovermup wants his points back. I mean, it's a subtractor. It's there. You added it right at the start. So I'm gonna go to the bottom, and I think I'm just gonna see what's here. It's a bit too busy. So actually, I'm gonna go to the top. I might come back to that section later. I think when I'm kind of filling things out. 15,000 channel points used on hats, worth it. Well, I mean, you know, we had a subtractor last week, so it kind of works itself out. It was more of an IOU, really. So, oh, I like that. It's kind of. It sounds like it's kind of skewed to the left to me, so it could just be because I'm wearing headphones. So I might reduce the width on that, so it's just a mono thing. So again, I'm actually going to quantize this so that everything's kind of falling on the beat. For some reason, my keyboard is not working. Oh, that's fantastic. Wonderful. Oh, it's because the on-screen piano key is on. There we go. MainQB says, filter sweep the haps every other bar. There is already some filter sweeping going on here, so I suppose I could just make it more pronounced. So, that's way too loud. So, I'm just going to turn that right down. Actually, I really like that kind of filter sweep on the hats there, so I'm just going to leave that. So anyway, I am going to stretch this into the right place and quantize it. So that should fall nicely on the beat. So again, I'm just going to mute those and just chop those into nice quarter chunks, and then just bring those over here. So I'm just going to kind of try and mirror what I've got going on with the first breakbeat with the second one. So that's kind of kick, then snare, then back to kick. Let that play out. So let's listen to both those. I'm also going to use the beat former again on here, just to kind of, I'm actually going to use this to compress it a bit, just to kind of give it kind of more of a compressed feel to it, and just listen to that, get a little mix going. Yes, that's kind of a nice start. So let's. That's cool. I like that. And then let's have another snare there. So that's just kind of mirroring what's come before. Then we'll have that full breakbeat play at the end. Nice. In fact, let's give that hat a bit of a sweep, bit of a panning sweep. So I'm just going to turn the rate right down to kind of a slower value there. Turn the level up and hook that up to the pan on that particular channel, and maybe dial that back a bit. So you should be able to hear it kind of panning around slowly. Excellent. Drabbit says, yeah, this is ready to groove. Buskin Bill says, still say reverse the last bar. I think that's a cool idea. So let's do that. I'm thinking, actually, because what's blatantly going to happen is I'm going to pop this into a block at some point. So what I'm going to do, actually, let's just skip that step and pop this into a block. But what I'll do is I'll hang on to these elements here, pop these in the tune, in kind of the main arrange section here, and I'm just going to reverse those so that at some point, so I'm just going to start adding some extra bits here and there when I'm actually arranging the song. So those are ready to roll, and I kind of like the idea of that. So that's cool, but I don't want it to do that on every 16th bar. I feel like I just want to kind of sort of dab that in just a little bit, just kind of sprinkle it over the actual arrangement and mess around with that. So that's cool. I feel like we're on our way. I feel like what we need now is to add something vaguely melodic. So I feel like in my mind, the best thing I could really add to this, I'll just call this breakbeat 2. The best thing I could really do to this would be to add some nice old school samples as a pad. So I'm going to dip into the world of grain and play around with that. So I'm just going to dip into the factory sounds folder and go into my favorite folder, which is the chords, phrases, pads, stabs. This is like a treasure trove of nice old school samples. So that's a really bad example. It's not really paddy. So I'm thinking something kind of paddy. Main QB says layer the kick with a pop kick, maybe an 808. That's a great idea. I may come back to that. So I think I might come back to that after I've added the bass. I've got some ideas in mind for what I'd like to do with the bass. But first, oh, that's perfect. Klodmer has redeemed the loon, which I think would be perfect for this track, and I'm blatantly going to add that later on. But for now, I'm going to use this lovely patch as the basis for a pad. So I'm just going to set that to the detected root note. So let's increase the range of that. Maybe dial in a bit of attack and a bit of release. Slow it down a bit, give it a bit of jitter, set to forward backward loop, spread the pan on the grains, turn up the pitch jitter just a little bit. So that's cool. It's a bit loud at the moment. So what I'm going to do, actually, kind of against what I just said, I'm just going to crank that right up so I've got plenty to play around with. Actually, I might turn the pan spread down a bit. Turn the rate down. Let's turn that up. That's cool. So you know what this needs? This needs a nice bit of reverb. So I'm going to dial in a bit of the DR1. That's a really nice kind of old school flavour there. Excellent. I love those kind of hard locked chords. So I'm just going to dial in a bit of delay as well. Just kind of give it a nice wash. Just roll off the lows slightly there. So yeah, let's just draw in some notes. So I seem to be gravitating towards G. So let's go with that. So I'm just going to have that play for. Let's just play. Yeah, let's go down to the D there. Actually, no, that's That's nice. I like that. Then I think in the second, in the second section, I might just bring that C down an octave. So I might enable global position, which just means that it will continue to sweep through that individual sample as the pad plays, so we'll get more of the later section. I'm undecided as to whether I like it with the global position turned off or on. That's I'm gonna leave it on for now because I like how it just kind of sweeps through. That's a nice start. So I was thinking, I'm just going to leave that pad as it is. In fact, I might dial back the high pass filter a bit because it's kind of rolling out some of the body, I think. I'm thinking I might layer up that subtractor as well with an actual kind of ride cymbal, just because, so we'll get kind of the sweep of that subtractor along with the kind of more acoustic sound of a ride. So I'm going to go to the Evolve Free folder here and just go to cymbals and rides and pick Aldi. So I just want to dial that back. I want that really sort of back in the mix. That'd be kind of nice just to layer it up with the subtractor. Let's have both of those because I think they'll sit really nicely together. So let's just do the same again. Nice, I like that. That's a really good combination. I'm gonna stop messing around here and actually add some bass, I think. So that can be that could be the grain pad, and that can be ride. So I'm just gonna create an instance of. It's been a while since I feel like I keep cheating when it comes to sort of bass drones. I want to do something kind of droney. What I would normally do is use Respire to create a sort of droning bass sound, and just use the Beatitude patch, which is just wonderful, and I use it on everything. But I feel like it'd be nice to maybe try and create something from scratch this time around. So we want kind of this nice sort of wide, slightly detuned sort of bass sound. Jaylick has said, I came in a little late on stream, but did anyone see Cameron of Venus Theory fame or Reasons live stream? I actually haven't seen that this week. I caught a little bit of it when it was on, but I still haven't watched all of it. That guy is super interesting when it comes to creating new sounds and textures. I'd love to see what he's been doing. What I saw was super interesting. Got me inspired to bust out my field recorder and do some more stuff, my fielding recorder. Yeah, it's really cool. So where was I? So I'm going to turn the octave down on here. I'm just going to stick with a basic analog oscillator here, and so it's just simple sine wave. Best voice in the business. Yes, he's got a wonderful voice. Venus Theory has a lovely voice. So I'm going to turn on unison and just turn the count right down. I'm going to try and do something sort of akin to what Protostar did during his Reason Studio stream, which is to kind of have two slightly detuned sine waves essentially drifting in and out of each other. So I'm going to turn the spread up a bit and turn the detune right up. So you can kind of hear there's like a nice sort of... So as I play kind of lower notes, the drift kind of becomes slower and slower, so you kind of get less of a wobble. So I'm thinking I might leave the spread kind of about halfway there. Also, if you're listening to this on like a phone or something, or anything without a particularly good low-end response, I apologise, you won't be able to hear any of that. So to get around that, what I'm going to do is start using some modifiers. So not quite that extreme. So I'm thinking faded sync could be good. Oh, that's lovely. So doesn't need to be a lot. That's excellent. Excellent. That's just what I wanted. Yeah, get some headphones. So, excellent. Right, I am going to leave that alone. I'm going to turn that up so it's about minus 10 dB. I'm not going to put that through the filter just yet. I'm going to use Engine 2 because I want to add something kind of more high-end. So I'm going to set that down an octave. And that's going to go through the filter section here, which I'm going to set to... I want to let some of the highs do, so I'm going to set it to that model there. That's good. So that's kind of more in the center of what I want. So actually I might see. I like the wobble on the first engine, but I quite like having it spread out a bit more. What I might do, yeah, I'm just going to leave that as it is. Travis said, wavetable section of Europa is bass heaven, my friends. I concur. So yeah, I mean, you just saw me dial this in incredibly quickly, and I'm happy with where that's going. So I think it'd be nice to add just a hint of noise at the top going through the filter section here. So I'm just going to add no, not FM, some FM feedback noise. There we go. Dial. Don't need a lot. So I'm also going to dial in a bit of distortion, maybe some tube distortion. too much. And some compression. So kind of a little trick I like to use with the compression is just to set it basically like this. So these two, the attack and release, are kind of set to 9 o'clock, and threshold and ratio are set to 3 o'clock. It's kind of a nice, quick and dirty thing that I like to do with the Europa compressor, just so it's kind of it just kind of catches it and just kind of helps to smooth the dynamics a bit. So there we go. I like that. I like that. Thinking, do I need the distortion? Pulverized with light squash. Excellent. In fact, I'm going to whack that on top as well as what I've got going here, because I like the sound of that. So, yeah, just maybe a little bit of dirt. Let's just bring that down a bit. So yeah, let's bring that in. So I'm just going to... Excellent. So there's one thing I'd like to do as well, and something which I was sort of playing around with earlier was I want to use the stereo imager just to kind of widen the highs a bit on this particular patch without completely sacrificing the kind of nice meaty low end I've got going there. So I want the lows to be mono so that it kind of sits nicely in the mix and it doesn't sound too kind of out of place or anything like that. So I've just made kind of I've set the crossover frequency to about, let's say, like 250 hertz. That's kind of a nice round figure. So everything below 250 hertz is now summed to mono, and everything above that, let's give that a bit of width. So let's just play that. I like that. Cool. So, excellent. So I feel like I might play around with the bass a bit more once I get things kind of fleshed out a bit. But for now, it's just a nice drone. I want a bit more delay on that pad. It's just not quite enough for my taste. Let's have more delay. Just gonna turn the filter up a bit, see where that goes. So I want that pad to really ring out on the delay without feeding too much back into itself. So I might actually turn the delay time down a bit. That's always fun. Turn the feedback down a bit. That's cool. I like that. Some slightly longer reverb, I think. That's cool. Now I've got a bit of a sort of delay wash thing going on there, which is quite satisfying to my ears. So. So I feel like we could do with an extra kind of breakbeat on top. Like, I like the kind of snappiness of it, but I feel like as the track progresses, it'd be nice to have something kind of rolling going on. So I seem to recall, I'm going to go back to the breaks folder of this Blue Martin sample set. I seem to recall some of these ones down here were kind of cool. That's a bit... Yeah, that's what I want. So I might not do anything with this, actually. I might just kind of leave it as it is. Not quantize it. I'm just going to leave it so it's kind of sort of loose, and just copy and paste it, really. So there we go. So I'm just going to leave that and dial it back a bit. I think I might have just inadvertently typed in a track title for something I'll work on in the future called Breakbeat. That's excellent. Oh, I just remembered, Cheetown suggested using the process piano's shimmer verb. So I might have to introduce that in whatever I do next. So this might be a nice opportunity to add something else that's kind of melodic. So something I did quite recently was use, surprise, surprise, the VK2 to add some nice arps. And I think I'd like using a triangle triangle oscillator. So I feel like that might be nice to mess around with. Mark Donaldson says, have you tried using tone transfer to come up with a melody? I have not. I might have to check that out, so I'm going to make a note of that. There's a distinct lack of beatmap going on here, which is kind of funny considering the fact they just released an update for it. It's kind of sod's law, really. Reason Studios released an update for beatmap, and I'm not actually using it. So there we go. Anyway, I'm going to set this to triangle oscillator and just kind of mess around with that until I might actually bring in a bit of a sawtooth as well, just to kind of round it out. Bring the filter down. It's done in a bit of resonance. That's nice. That's more what I was after. So before I forget, I'm gonna turn on the high CPU usage on the oscillator and drive on the back of the VK2. It's a nice little option there. So that's kind of a nice simple sound we've got going on there. I might actually use the LFO to sweep through the filter a bit there as well, just a little bit. Jalek says, did you have any input on what kind of beat maps you wanted, Adam? I did not, but from the sounds of things, well, from what I've actually played with so far, it feels like they kind of knocked that one out, really, because one of the beat maps I added was kind of a very kind of straight sort of drum machine kind of thing, which is really, really useful as a sort of utility thing. And the other one is really nice for coming up with sort of more odd kind of, almost kind of IDM-y patterns, which I'm very much in favor of. So maybe in one of these future streams, I'll do something with more of a sort of IDM flavor again, using one of those beat maps, because that'd be kind of fun to. It's been a while since I did something just generative, really. Cool. That's not fancy. So I think we need actually, I was going to use the process piano's reverb, so I'm going to use that now. Just bring in process pianos and just use the audio in there and dial in a bit of reverb. Now I can't remember how you actually use the reverb, so this will be interesting. There we go. Cool. Right, so oh, that's cool. Well, thank you, Cheetown. No, I hadn't tried this out, and this is really neat. Cool. Excellent. Well placed. Well placed. So let's... That's cool. I like it. Let's rough the lows a bit. Wow, I'm not going to use the DR1 for a change. Right, so I am going to use the echo, though, just to add a nice bit of delay there. In fact, let's have a bit of drive on the filter section. Cheetan, it's a great effects section. I wish it was separate units. Yep, story of my life, really. I feel that way about Kong and now process pianos, and I'm sure there's a few other things I'd like to see broken out into separate devices. The Complex One reverb is another one. Yeah. I mean, it's nice that you can route things through these instruments and use the effects sections for whatever you fancy, but it would be nice just to have separate devices. But you know, it's cool. So I'm going to turn off the echo there because I'm using a delay. So yeah, let's drop some stuff in. So I'm thinking, yeah, that'll do. So nice and simple. Doesn't have to be complex. Drive there as well. Jalix says, I still think Antidote has the best effects section. Yeah, it's really good because, yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Synapse effects generally. As if you hadn't noticed, I mean, I use the DR1 on everything, but the rest of the effects are really good as well. And Antidote has a reverb that's very, very, very similar to DR1. I'm not sure if it is the same reverb. I think there might be some slight differences, but it's really good. I did just use the Antidote effects section as my kind of go-to reverb for a long time before I picked up DR1, and the rest is history, I guess. So Buskin Bill suggested using an LFO on the decay. What I was thinking, it was just automating that as the track goes. So I might just get that automation lane going so I remember when I'm actually arranging the track to do something with it. The Cosmic Joker says, what DAW are you using? I'm using Reason. I'm using Reason 11 Suite, which is excellent. That is my DAW of choice. Whoops. It's cool. I like that. Yeah, I really like that shimmer reverb. Thanks for pointing that out. I'm really glad I've finally checked it out. Cool. Right, so we've got a nice little ARP going on there. I feel like it'd be nice to add like an extra pad, so I might dip back into something sort of want to get something era appropriate, so I'm going to dip into the pads folder of the Blue Martin sample bank. Again, this is free. If you go to the Blue Martin website, there's a link to the actual sample pack there, and you can grab it. If you're going to be using it for anything commercially minded, then maybe think twice about the samples you're using. But I feel like I've kind of chopped up these breaks enough to get away with it. I'm probably going to be drowning whatever I use here in reverb, which is the easy out. Cool. I think that might actually be in key as well. So I might just bring that in, and that's a long pad. So I'm just gonna stretch it out to the length of this block and just give it the old DR1 treatment, and DR1 and a bit of echo. So yeah, let's try that. Might roll off the lows there. It's kind of resonant. I don't really need that. I just want it to be kind of breathy. Yeah, that's in key. Excellent. Always love it when that happens. Got this idea, it might be kind of cool to maybe add like some little kind of vocal touches outside of this. So I was going to dip into sample library, nasal riser, excellent. Once I start putting the track together, I'm sure there'll be time for some risers and stuff to whack in there. But I just want to get this block nice and ready. So I'm thinking I'm going to create an audio track and just reverb for that copyright crime scene cleanup service. Nobody will know. It's fine. I've stretched it. There's some reverb and echo on it. Nobody will know. It's fine. So yeah. So I'm sort of thinking of just adding like just a couple of little sort of vocally snippets. Save reminder. Yes, I still haven't turned that up. You may have noticed. So I'm just gonna add a bit of reverb and delay again, because of course I am. But this time I'm going to turn the delay right up. I might actually leave that turned off while I'm recording it though. So I'm going to just turn my mic off for a second here. I'm in Reason. Woo. So I've got an idea. Like I like to record like some vocally snippets and kind of see where it goes. So let's try it. So it's kind of nonsensical. I just thought the word always would work, and always sounded a bit like always. So I've just stuck that in. So I'm just, oh, that's some good pitch correction right there. I mean, I was intentionally going all over the place. So I'm going to have to do a bit of slicing there. Let's just chop it up a bit more. And correct the pitch. I mean, I'm going to be processing this quite a bit in a second. I've got some ideas. that's totally wrong. So I think what we need is a bit of compression. So I'm going to use the RE2A here and just bring in the vocal preset. It's a nice kind of rough start. So, I think just to kind of give it a more sort of ethereal flavour, I'm going to bring in the Neptune and kind of use the formant shift just to kind of bring it down. So, let's try that. That's kind of cool. I like that. So, I might turn the gain down there and just normalize this section, just so there's plenty for the compressor to work with. And I'm going to turn that down because it's going to be super loud. And maybe crop this a bit so we get rid of some of that noise that we don't really need. And there we go. So let's just get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And just have it fade in a bit. Very rough and ready vocal editing. Clodmutt says, reckon you could try the high female vocal processing technique on this one. That's not a bad idea. I might try that. So I'll... So there's quite a lot of popping going on with the compression there. So I might not use that. Or just dial it back. I think I'll use it, just dial it back. So let's turn the peak reduction down. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm just gonna duplicate this track, and so for anyone unaware, this is kind of my sort of female. Need to unbypass it. What have I done? What have I bypassed here? I can't see. Oh yeah, I'm an idiot. I don't bypass the compressor. Let's try that. Isn't that a line from one of the Star Wars films? I bypassed the compressor. So right, I'm going to leave that as it is and just call this Vox High. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, transpose it up an octave, and turn on the compressor. Thank you, Tony Byrne. And formant shift that up as opposed to down. Maybe dial back some of the delay. Let's have a shorter delay on this. Let's have a longer reverb going on there, I think. Disregard what I said. that's a neat little block to start with. So. Cool. Well, I think that's a nice place to start working with this. Nice rainbow in the track colors. Oh yeah, there is. Excellent. I saw a rainbow earlier on as well. That was nice. So, right, I'm gonna, now that I've got that block is ready to roll, I think. So that's a nice 24 seconds of audio to play around with there. Actually, one thing I'm going to play around with, I'm going to copy and paste that into a second block. Because I feel like it'd be nice to maybe vary up the bass a bit. So I'm just going to mute the vocal bit so I can hear what I'm doing. I just want some octaves going on. Oops, that's the wrong channel. So let's go to Europa. That's the wrong note. There we go. Bring that back again here. Be nice to kind of have a bit of a sort of portamento slide going on there. So I'm gonna, where did I put the bass? Oh, it's the Europa. For some reason I'm just completely overlooking Europa as a bass machine for some reason. So I'm going to turn the voice count down to 1 and turn portamento to auto, and let's hopefully this will work. Odd. No portamento going on there. That's unusual. So I'm thinking, am I doing something wrong? Something really obviously wrong? I feel like that should work. That's really odd. Tony Burner said bug. I mean, I can't think of why that's not working. That should definitely be working. And now it is. Huh. Yeah, I can't think of why that's not working. Unless... I mean, it's polyphonic, so I might set that to re-trigger. I mean, now it's working. I think it's just because I had it set it to polyphonic voice mode, but that still shouldn't really have made much of a difference, but... Tony Boner suggested nudging the note up. I'm curious myself. Let's see if that works. Let's bump that up. No. Let's bump it up an octave. I'm sorry, I'll stop this in a second. I think it's just because it's a low note. No, it's not. It just seems to be completely random. Anyway, I'm going to set that to retrigger, so that should work. It'll be fine. I mean, that's what I wanted in the first place, so I'll just leave that. So that was a fun little mystery. If you fancy investigating that of your own volition, please, I invite that. I'm curious to see if anyone else has that issue. I might also add another, like an open hat or something. So I'm just going to go here just so I can bring that in later in the track. It doesn't have to be particularly loud. I just want it to be kind of there as an extra element that I can throw in. So I'm going to create a new note lane on the redrum here and just draw in some slower. That's not so great. There we go, that's nice. So we've got a couple of blocks. Now I'm going to go back to the song, and oh yeah, I've got these reversed breakbeat parts. Isn't that handy? So I'm going to draw in block 1 just as like a nice starter, and just start with, I think I'll just start with the kind of ride. And what have I done here? That's odd. So, oh, because it's only in block 2. I'm a plum. So, so let's bring that over into block 1. I know what I'm doing, honest. So let's pop that in there. Go back to the song view and let's play this. So I'm going to start with, well, I can just fade in the sort of hatty sub using the filter. That'll be nice. That's what it's there for. And I can filter in the ride using the SSL low pass filter. So let's just draw that in nicely there. I might also filter in that grain pad using the low pass filter. And I might also use the low pass filter on the SSL mixer because it's kind of just popping through a bit too much. Oh yeah, I was going to put a loon in here. I will, don't worry. The time will come for the loon. Maybe I'll stick that through a Process Piano's shimmer reverb. I feel like that sub's just a little harsh when it comes in. I think I just need to come in a little slower. Tony Byrne says, high pass something. Yeah, let's high pass the pad. Why not? I'm very suggestible, me. So, grain pad. Let's get that going. Let's have something fun there. Yep. Digicol says, I think you reversed and stretched the loon on one of your earlier streams. That would sound great on this track. The loon is going in, don't worry. I feel like it would be wrong of me not to put it in at this point. I just feel like I want the high pass filter on that breakbeat to start with. But I kind of like having the lows present as well. Basketball said put the reverse loop in before the drums come in. That's a great idea. Let's do that. Yes. Excellent. I can go in there. Nice little bit of variety there. That's a bit much. I'm just going to pop that over here for now. So I'm thinking I might use a little trick I've used a few times before now, which is I'm just going to create an instance of DR1 as a send. It's going to be an aux send. I'm going to crank the time up. And don't worry, the loon is coming. I'm going to turn the low cut up and just have those breakbeats feed into that reverb kind of as this section goes, like as a nice riser without having to use the nasal riser just yet. I'll save that for later, I think. So let's give that a go. Oh wait, that's too soon. I've brought it in too soon. There we go. Right. So yeah, I feel like that'd be a really cool way to bring in the bass. It's just a little loud at the moment. It's too loud, but the tail isn't long enough. So let's have a slightly longer tail. In fact, let's have that come in a bit sooner. So we can have the drums drop out just for a bit there and have the bass come in. I think that's going to sound awesome. I might open up the filter on Europa as that goes. I'm going to have that sort of start a little more closed. Open that up during that section there. So we get less of the highs, it's just all subs. It's nice, I like that. I'm just going to have the grain go through a high pass filter, I think, just during that section. I'm going to bring the grain pad channel closer to the actual sequencer lane so I can see where it is. So let's have that just kind of wash in and out. I think that'd be nice. Tony Bernard, I think this one will be a fade to silence track. I don't know. Right. I'm gonna bring in the loon now, just because I need it. So let's find it. I can't actually remember where it is. There it is. I said I can't remember where it is, as if I don't go here every day. um, love it. Such a child. Right, let's whack on a load of delay there. Let's have a bit of DR1 there. So I think I need to roll off the lows a bit there, just because especially at the start, I might actually fade that in because it's a bit it's a bit sinister. So there we go. Cool, I'm going to save that. Yes, I have just saved. I feel like we can make that sit a little more organically. I think it's a bit obvious at the moment. I quite like the obviousness, though. There we go, that'll do. Nice, I like that. Hecka99 has just subscribed. Thank you very much for subscribing. Appreciate it. I think maybe I need that to increase over that section there. And I'm going to start bringing everything back in a second. That'll be fun. Let's actually, that's not a bad idea. Title suggestion, Pacific State. where have I heard this before? I think we need to bring the loon in again. Actually, maybe it's a bit too soon. Too soon for the loon. Start bringing in that ARP as well. I think that'll be kind of nice. Just realised that's muted for some reason. There's nothing there. have the drums drop for a little bit there. Cool. I like that. Cheetown suggested, how about using an LFO to pan the vocals to opposite sides for some rhythmic movement? That's a cool idea. I like that. So, let's go to the vocal section in the rack here and create an instance of pulsar. And I'm going to turn that right down. So it's... Actually, let's have that every couple of bars. Turn the level up. So I'm just going to open up the programmer on this audio track here and route the CV output from that pulsar to the LFO, the CV input of the pan. Just turn that down a bit, say about 36. And I'm going to take the invert signal and stick that into the high vocals. And again, turn that down to about, say about 40. Okay, so now the vocals are kind of going opposite directions as they're being panned all over the place, which I think would be kind of nice. So I'm just going to bring in the reverb on the second breakbeat again. Digicolour said, does the vocal need a little de-essing? I believe you are right. I was thinking that earlier, but I thought, nah, I'll just wing it and hopefully it'll be fine. But now you've mentioned it. Now that it's actually been brought to my attention, I'm thinking, you're probably right. So I'm just going to go to the vocal section, which was down here, I think. And just pop it through the de-esser after the Neptune, so before any of the delay and stuff. So I am going to pop it in here and say, I'm just going to bring in a de-esser, just leave it as it is and hope for the best. And do the same on the second channel. So let's hear that. Buskin Bill said, should you not put that LFO in the rack rather than the insert? Let's have a look. I mean, that's... No, that should be fine. I might turn it up a bit so it's a little more pronounced. No, that should be fine. Let's just... let's listen to the block just to make sure. So I'm just going to listen to these vocal parts. They should pan in opposite directions. Yeah, that is right. I might speed it up though, or slow it down. Yeah, so they're in the opposite ends of the stereo field, so that should be fine. So I'm just gonna take that off. Excellent suggestion, thank you. What I might do is, because it's a bit much when it's just on the one voice on its own, what I might do is automate the level so it kind of comes in over the course of this section. So it's in the center, and then it starts going all over the place. And I'm going to bring in that pad as well, because I'm not actually using that yet. Let's bring in the loon when everything comes in. let's have that come in there, yeah. Going to automate the decay of that up, wasn't I? Yeah, let's do that. I think that would be cool if I open and close the filter a bit as well there. False Mirror Music said, can we disable the ARP in block 2? That's not a bad idea, actually. I think it'll be cool to bring that back in a second. Maybe have like a nice delay wash just before that section comes in as well. I think that'd be cool, just to kind of give it a bit more kind of energy before it comes in. So let's do that. That's a great idea. Thank you, False Mirror Music. I feel like I need like an extra something else in there, like maybe an extra kind of breakbeat or something. Even something from the factory sound bank I think would do the trick. I just need something to give it a bit more kind of just something. So yeah, I'm just gonna dip into the drum loops folder here. In fact, let's have a look in the chemical beats folder. Actually no, let's not. Let's go into the drum and bass folder. That's perfect. Maybe. So let's just bring that in as a slice of audio. That's cool. I might do the old beat former trick on that again. Let's just bring that over a few times. In fact, I might have that filter in over this section. I'm also going to mess with that because I feel like it doesn't match the other breaks, so I'm just going to bring that into block 2. Didn't mean to do that. So let's chop this into quarter chunks again. So I'm going to quantize that, set the grid to a quarter, and I think that's probably enough there. And bring that over, and let's have some fun with this again. So let's have and yep. Oops, I forgot I had several things highlighted there. That's cool. That'll do for that little chunk there. There we go. So I'm thinking with that particular break, again, let's use the beat former, but I feel like I want to squash it a bit more just to kind of help to give it more of a kind of rolling feel. So I'm just going to keep that open and play that and see where it goes. Oh yeah, I forgot it was filtered. And I also don't want that playing over the top. Right, there we go. So it kind of gives it this kind of nice sort of rolling kind of feel, which I think was sort of lacking a bit before. So I'm just going to mute that so it's in all the blocks, in its right place. There we go. See, now I feel like I've overdone the compression there. I think there's just too much of that first hit, that kind of... Nope, that's the wrong one. Yeah, it's just too much of that kind of... Now I wish I'd kept all of the break, so let's just have a look. The problem is it's everywhere. Well, I think I'm just gonna have to deal with that. G-Town says, a nice break would be having just the vocals, Luna, delay washing the breakbeat high pass for a few bars. That's a great idea. Let's try that. So I'll probably just let this ride for a little bit. Oh man, I didn't bring everything back in. That was super underwhelming. Right, let's try that again. So, Buskin Bills rightly points out the bass needs a bit more compression on it. The lower note seems too low in the mix, so I've just slapped on a very quick and dirty RE2A there just to give it a bit of a compression bump. Tony Burns says, if this were 80 BPM, we'd have a 7-minute track by now. Feel jungle tempo makes you work extra hard. Well, I mean, there we go. It's the excellent. It's the down tempo mix. I'll just stick it through Paul Stretch and see what pops out. I'm going to listen back to what I've got so far, because I feel like that'll be kind of a nice opportune moment to start wrapping things up. That's actually a great break to automate 80 BPM. Like, after I did that, I was very tempted. Like, I feel like that would be kind of cool, just to kind of have a nice half-time bit, just... It does break all of the delay, but I mean, that'll be easily fixed if I just set them all to keep pitch. It's kind of funny. Yeah, that should fix that problem. That's funny. I like that. Stick one of the reverse breaks before. That's a great idea, Buskin Bills. Thank you very much. So let's pop that in there. And there we go. A crash cymbal to reintroduce the faster tempo would be nice. Bongos! We need bongos! Yeah, let's have an extra. Let's have a crash in there. So cymbals and rides. Just have a cool. Let's just have a nice note lane for that. I think that needs reverb on it. It's just weird on its own, so I'm going to create a separate mix channel for that. So that's number 8. That can go in there, and that can have a bit of the old DR1 on there. So I'm just going to let that ride out for another block, and then I'm going to start winding down the track after that point, I think. Basketball says, I think reverse reverb on the arps to fade them out rather than a cut. I prefer the delay wash myself, so it's... Although I would like a nice filter sweep on it. A bit much, I think. So if I turn that down to, say, 108. Yeah, let's try that. A bit much at the moment. There we go, that's nice. So Tony Burns suggested one more melodic element for the back half of the track. I feel like that's not a terrible idea, but I also have a much cheesier idea, which I might use instead. Shelga says, is the bass one of your Europa patches? I actually created the patch earlier in the stream, so this is a patch that I created from scratch earlier on. So yeah, I really like how that patch turned out. It's quite nice. Excellent. So I feel like if that was half the length, it would work better. It does kind of mess me up, but I don't know. I'm uncertain about that. I'll just leave it. So my cheesier idea was to create a note lane, a second note lane for the VK2. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna grab that and pitch that up an octave. Yeah, I'm not sold on that. It seemed like a better idea in my head. What I might do again here, though... Let's bring that up. That works, that works. So this is where I start to bring everything out. Sorry, I've totally been ignoring the chat for the past couple of minutes because I've just been kind of messing around with this. So, oh, Tom has said, this track reminds me of that sounds from good old Need for Speed 3 4. So this is really interesting, actually, because earlier on today, I was posting about this stream on the Reason Talk forum, and Buskin Bill said it's going to sound something like this and posted an awesome jungle example, I must say. But then at the time, I had kind of in my mind, I actually posted a response to Bill's earlier saying, no, I had this kind of thing in mind, and it was the menu music from Need for Speed 3. So that is a very astute observation, and yeah, that's awesome. So I'm really glad that I've kind of gone in that direction to a degree where you can actually tell what I was kind of drawing from. That's great. So that's awesome. Tom also said something about, is it better to mix redrum with the mix channel or just put it inside a combinator with the old mix console? I mean, there's nothing wrong with either approach. I tend to just use, I mean, I'm using the SSL just, it's force of habit at this point, but there's nothing wrong with using the old 14.2 mixer and kind of doing everything as like a sub group that way. It depends on if you want to mix more in the rack or in the mixer. I tend to kind of go both ways when it comes to using the 14.2 with the redrum, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't tend to use the 14.2 as much nowadays, but yeah, there's nothing, I'd say, unless you're going to be using the filters and EQ and dynamic section on the SSL mixer, there's no reason to not use a 14.2 and keep everything in that one track. It's just for the sake of brevity, I've just kind of used the SSL here. So there we go. Cool. So I'm just going to start filtering out that second pad that's come in there. In fact, I feel like on that second pad it'd be cool to bring in some kind of phaser. So I'm going to bring in the Adam Szabo phaser, which it's a really, really cool phaser. Sounds like the phaser on the Access Virus, and it's great. So I'm going to keep that 0 for the most part, and then just kind of dial that in as this section goes on. So we have a bit of a sort of phaser coming. I've automated the wrong thing there. So we have that kind of come in. We have just like a little bit of extra phasey goodness. So there we go. Oh, that's some nasty clipping going on there. Yeah, I think that's just going in too hot. That's a shame. So what I might do is, let's tame that a bit. It's because I'm rolling off most of the highs here, and it's the inserts, it's going through the inserts first. So what I'll do is I'm just going to use an instance of good old Cellar gain and just turn that down, say 8 dB, just to give myself a bit of headroom. And I can bring it back up here. In fact, what I might do is just bring it back up here. There we go. Cheeky. I think it's just a limitation of that particular VST. Yeah, apologies for that blast of noise. For some reason I just thought, I'll just crank up the Cellar gain in the rack, and then I can just, you know, have plenty to play around with when it hits the mixer, so I can keep the fader low, because I tend to prefer to do that. But yeah, obviously, you know, I forgot the, you know, I need to take you guys into consideration, not just deafen you completely with what I'm doing. So yeah. Filtering some of this stuff out. I mean, I'm thinking, someone said, Tom said, so do we name that track? I mean, to be honest with you, I'm thinking of going with Clovermutt's suggestion of just calling it Always, because it's to the point. I mean, it kind of flows. I like it. Unless someone comes up with a better suggestion. Clovermutt's very good at the whole naming game. I think I need to start a scoreboard at some point and rank everyone in order of how many tracks they've named at this point. I think Clovermutt's probably at the top of that list at this point. So I'm just going to save that. So I'm going to start filtering out that Hattie sub as well. It's kind of a nice extra percussive flourish, I think. that's where I'm going to finish the track. Just going to drop that last note across the board. I think that'll be a nice place to stop it. That's cool. That's a good ending. I like that. Does go on a bit too much though. I might sort that tail out at the end, but yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'm gonna just play this from start to finish, and then maybe have a ponder about what to do with it. But yeah, I like that. I think there's just at a glance I could see there's 2 loons in very quick succession, so I might tinker with that a bit. There's something else I wanted to play with as well. Yeah, I've somehow got to 6 minutes again. A lot of the stuff I've been writing recently tends to kind of hover around the 6-minute mark, which has been kind of interesting. So yeah, I think it's just the kind of arrangement that I tend to be going for at the moment, just letting things flow almost symmetrically, just kind of build up to a point and then fade out. So I am going to, yeah, I'm just going to play this and keep quiet for a minute or two, and then just kind of have a ponder. So there's a couple of things I want to tweak with that. For now, the first thing I notice is that last always is way too loud. So I might just bring that down. I mean, I could just turn the volume down, so I might just bring in... Actually, I might just undo that, because, yeah. Just a 6 dB drop there, just because it was a bit kind of in your face before. So one thing I wanted to change, I like the idea of that like halving the tempo, but I just don't think it works. What I might do instead is just slow it down in that bit, so... Going to listen to this bit just so I can get an idea. I think it works. Cheetown has said, again, I like the idea there, but I'm not entirely sold that works. Even if it had something to announce it. What I might do is, Cheetown suggested just halving the length, so I might just give that a go. Also, one thing I'd like to do is change the stretch type of all of these breaks so it has kind of more of a kind of granular feel when it slows down. So that's cool. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I think that works. I think it's just the fact that there were a couple of extra beats that didn't really sit right with me. It does kind of ruin me actually being able to work on this track without having to sort of zoom in. But that's cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That works much better for me. There are a couple of other things I wanted to change. I can't remember what they were now. I think for the most part I am totally happy with how that's turned out. I do want to give it a proper little fade at the end so everything fades out properly. Oops. Let's connect that properly. So there, if I just add, I think it's just that vocal there that needs a proper fade. So that's handy because I have this cellar gain here. So if I just turn that on, that should fade it quite nicely. So let's try that out. Damn, it's that echo there, so I'm just going to turn the feedback down a bit as well. I just want it to fade out properly, damn it. There we go. Right. This is where my stubborn refusal not to automate the master fader is my undoing. There we go. There we go. Excellent. Little fade at the end. Cool. There we go. I'm actually really happy with how that's turned out. So yeah, I think I'm content to just leave that there. So as always, I'm going to come back to this track tomorrow with a fresh pair of ears and kind of give it a bit of a sort of massage just to make sure it's kind of as good as I'd like it to be before I move on to the next thing. So yeah, I'm happy with that. It's always nice to dip into the world of sort of jungly stuff, and it's nice that this has a distinct feel compared to Facing Giants, which is the last one I did on stream, the last jungly tune I did on stream. There's always the danger that they're just going to sound the same because they're using the same technique. So I think starting with different break beats and not using the amen break probably helped quite a bit there. So yeah, that's very useful. So yeah, I'm happy to leave it there. So thanks so much to everyone who's joined me again tonight. Had a blast working on this. And yeah, it's always great to see so many sort of familiar faces in the chat sort of giving me ideas and stuff. And I think you've really sort of pulled through today in giving me some suggestions for where to go with this track. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't expect to end up with another 6-minute track. That's kind of fun. So yeah, as always, I'll be messing around with this again tomorrow and tweaking the mix as I mentioned already. So yeah, cool. Thanks so much again for joining me today, guys, and I hope you have an awesome time wherever you are. And I'll see you again for the next stream. If you're watching on Twitch, then stick around. I'll have a chat with you guys afterwards. But if you're watching this on YouTube, then see you next time. Cheers and bye bye.